Welcome adventures, or should I say welcome back adventures, because today we are going to take a look backwards at some of the previous videos to see what you had to say about the classes, starting with the monk and going through rogue. We're not going to do quite as many classes as we did in the last look back video because it did get a bit long. Let's start with the monk. Okay, to begin, SGT Pimenta said, monks are awesome in Pathfinder 2nd edition. I'm new to the system, but I never knew that they were underrated. And I think this is a fair point. I do think they're a bit underrated in the sense that not many people call them out as their favorite class. I don't see them being praised quite as much as the fighter, for example. But then again, nobody really dislikes the monk. In fact, it is fair to say that a lot of people like the monk, and in fact, in this video, in some of the comments, other people did call out the monk as their favorite class. So I guess it's not that underrated in the end. Harry the Fish said, in one of my games, the monk uses a shield. This is a great option for them as they have the action economy to raise a shield each round due to flurry of blows. Then they go through the math of how absolutely fantastic the armor class of a monk with a shield is. And this is a very good point. Flurry of blows is just the ultimate action economy feat, core class feature really in Pathfinder 2nd edition. And it means you will always have that third action to do something defensive like step away or to raise a shield. Best Girl Jordanfish says the diversity, reliability, and fun defenses like WoW. Like WoW indeed, it is a very versatile class. It's very fun. It is great. And then Jim Bob says, yes, by far my favorite class in the system. So someone who says the monk is their favorite. I genuinely can't stop raving about this class because they are so versatile and can be built in so many different ways. And I do really agree. One thing that I like about the monk stances is that they're not just an attack. Yes, they give you a different attack option, but they also sort of have an inherent play style because they give you some other bonuses like being able to step further or having some more athletic abilities. So it really does more for you in terms of your flavor and your overall play style. The monk really is a fantastic class. Now on to the Oracle. S. Figa says, Oracle definitely is a more advanced class and also calls out that sometimes you get crappy curse benefits versus detriments. Looking at you, lore Oracle. I do agree, this is something I talked about. It's pretty advanced, there's a lot to track, and sometimes I do question whether some of the curses are actually worth it. Bard Wannabe says, overly packaged and limited characters. And again, I do agree, that is something I talked about a bit in the Oracle video, that when you pick your Oracle curse, there is so much packaged into it, and you're just locked into it all. Finally, Bladesong says, they are playing as an Oracle with a background touched by Daek, and the ancestors from this mystery are actually fragments of the Daek's personality vying for control. And I think this is a great example of how cool the Oracle can be for role-playing. Though the mechanics of the Oracle can sometimes be a bit much, let's say, there is so much role-playing hooks in those curses. There's just so much going on, and then you can flavor it in your own way, as Bladesong has done here. With the Psychic, not too much to say about this one, but Zeropi Vic did say, so many cool options, either from the two subclasses to combine, either from feats, spells, and also a bunch of ancestries that synergize with it. The ancestries is particularly of note here, because remember, the Psychic can be either charisma or intelligence-based, which means a lot of different ancestries are very good options to play as a Psychic. You combine that with the dual subclass system, and you have a lot of options for this class. Onto the Ranger. Kyle Harder says, it seems like the Ranger is always lacking in every edition. This one is pretty decent. And it is. It's pretty decent. It's not fantastic. It's probably not a top 3 martial, but it is good. Zaropevic says, it is not only feats that you try to combine without direction as a fighter, or with stances from the monk that makes you have some feats, stance themed that are hard not to choose. It is a nice midterm with a bunch of options to go any direction you are suggested to go. And I think these are both good points. As I said in the fighter video, sometimes as a fighter, you can pick feats that almost contradict each other. And then as a monk, maybe once you start going down a certain path, like with a stance, there are a bunch of other feats that you want to take that keep you down that path, and that's not necessarily going to be so with a ranger. You do have some flexibility as you continue to build out your character. And now on to the rogue. Last one we're going to take a look at today. First of all, Dark Legacy asked, isn't Ruffian Rogue only able to use simple weapons for sneak attack on top of Agile Finesse, at least until the remaster tells us which martial weapons are applicable? And yes, this is a good call out. I think in the video I said something like, as a Ruffian Rogue, you can sneak attack with any weapon. And I didn't mean any, I meant any weapon that you have access to. You can't go pick up some advanced weapon that you don't know how to use and suddenly sneak attack with it. In the remaster, it looks like the rogues will have access to all martial weapons, and I assume this means they will be able to sneak attack with all, otherwise why would you even, pick up that weapon? Mystery says, personally, I feel like the rogue is a bit overtuned, not as bad as it was in D&D. I think it might be the ease and potential damage output of backstab, or that they often outshine other classes, sometimes even in that class's specialty. And I think that last point about the outshining other classes is a really good one. You might have something like an inventor in your party, who is of course going to be very heavily invested in crafting. And then you have an intelligence-based rogue who is also invested in crafting and picks up feats and can almost do better, or at least keep up with that inventor. That means that a rogue on a team can kind of outshine or crowd out the other players and other characters, and I can see how that would rub some people the wrong way. Finally, last comment for this video, Sleepy Slan said, a lot more character scope available in these subclasses than most other classes. And I think this is a really good point, and also probably explains why the rogue is so popular. If you want to be charisma-based, you can be a rogue. If you want to be dex-based, be a rogue. If you get what I'm going. Like they have a subclass that is tied to basically every ability score, and there are a lot of different styles of rogue. More so, and I think more variety than you necessarily get in some of the other subclass systems of other classes, and that really probably explains why this is such a popular class, because you can kind of look at this pretty easy to understand and kind of cool, mysterious core martial mechanic, and then be able to choose your flavor from the different subclasses that have a lot more flavor differences than subclasses of other systems. All right, adventurers, that is it for today. Gonna try to keep this a little bit shorter and sweeter than the last one. We'll do this again, so stay tuned, keep commenting. We'll see you next time.